The tofu-paste project in China has long faded from public view, until now. A shocking disaster has brought it roaring back. On November 11th, the Hongqi Bridge in Erkang, Sichuan's Aba Prefecture, suddenly collapsed after only 10 months, right after officials proudly planted the river dragon. The entire structure was swallowed by the Great Duhui River, unleashing a massive flood. This was supposed to be a flagship bridge in the clouds, a symbol of progress racing across China's northwest. Instead, it turned into rubble in an instant. Officials rushed to label it merely a mountain slide, claiming a cracked slope caused the collapse. But experts soon exposed the truth. The bridge sat in a high-risk zone where such a slide was not an accident. It was the predictable result of a disastrous decision. Dr. Zhu, chief of the American Institute of Structural and Structural Engineering, told the media, "This is not an engineering failure, it's a political failure." He explained that the bridge was built on a tiny mountaintop acting as the collision point of two slopes, with a terrifying 45 to 60-degree incline. Even worse, the structure was anchored directly onto this unstable ridge. Real mountain slope monitoring is expensive and highly specialized, Dr. Zhu said. It requires drilling, sampling, and scientific analysis. But in China's engineering system, expert opinion is too often replaced by political orders. In proper engineering, a bridge near such terrain would be placed low and flat to reduce structural stress, but the Hongqi Bridge was glued onto a mountaintop, impossible to anchor deeply, leaving its core dangerously fragile, like a reckless move in a losing chess game. After the collapse, public anger exploded over who inspected, who monitored, and who approved the project. Dr. Zhu noted that the entire engineering chain may have been corrupted. Testing agencies led by unqualified relatives, construction teams cutting corners to save money, and inspectors pressured to sign off for political gain. Engineers, he said, often have no voice, and systemic corruption kills good design before it is ever built. This is not just about Hongqi Bridge. It reflects the deeper structural failures behind China's massive infrastructure push, failures similar to those seen in the Three Gorges region. After the collapse, hundreds of workers were stranded at the site, their pay withheld, traffic shut down, the project frozen. They became victims of the system, yet their suffering remains invisible to authorities. On August 22nd, another deadly incident struck. A special bridge on the Sichuan-Qinghai Railway near Jianja on the Yellow River broke apart at a short-span section, killing at least 12 and leaving 4 missing. This bridge, touted as the world's largest double-line cross-border railway bridge, had been under construction for days when a critical component failed and brought the entire structure down. That night, the workers were adjusting a lock system for the next stage of construction. Without warning, the lock snapped, the bridge structure collapsed, and all 16 staff members plummeted from the span. According to the witness, the incident happened in a split second. A violent shock, like an earthquake. Residents nearby said the bridge stood only about 90 meters from the river, yet the right side cable suddenly snapped, sending the massive green steel structure crashing down. Experts say 2 causes are most likely: a defective cable, or construction errors and reckless operation. What stunned people most was that safety nets and harnesses, the usual life-saving protections, became useless the moment the entire bridge gave way. China's megaprojects are often shadowed by corruption. Design blueprints may look compliant, but monitoring is weak, construction is sloppy, and layers of profit-sharing turn safety into an afterthought. The timing was even more alarming. At 3 a.m., workers were still forced into high-intensity night shifts. Construction teams raced nonstop to catch the dragon before the end of August. Overnight work became routine. Netizens asked, why the rush? Why must everything be finished before August? Isn't safety supposed to come first? Critics argue that when political labels like world's largest cross-border project or first double-line Yellow River crossing take center stage, safety becomes nothing more than a slogan. And China's tofu-dreg projects aren't just domestic. They've faced global backlash. Ecuador once demanded compensation from Beijing for severe quality issues at the Coca-Cola-Sinclair hydropower station, forcing Chinese state-owned firms to pay $400 million. The Coca-Cola-Sinclair plant, built in 2009 at a cost of nearly $3 billion, was heavily promoted by former President Rafael Correa, and constructed by Chinese state-owned companies. Since operations began in 2016, the station has been plagued by crisis after crisis: unstable power output, shoddy construction, and mounting debts. Investigations revealed structural defects and thousands of cracks in key machinery. Even after repairs, some equipment still leaked. By 2021, Ecuador had submitted a staggering $5.8 billion restoration plan. In 2024, Chinese companies rejected Ecuador's claims, accusing them of contract violations. Now, the compensation agreement is at the heart of the long-running dispute. Beyond engineering flaws, experts warn the station threatens the Amazon ecosystem. Designed for a 50-year lifespan, it may function for barely 15. This threatens Ecuador's national energy grid and risks irreversible damage to the Amazon. Analysts say China's state-owned firms win overseas bids simply because their prices are extremely low, even cheaper than domestic projects. But this low price almost guarantees quality problems. Chinese writer Sheng Shui said Ecuador recovering $400 million signals the beginning of Beijing's crisis. Many nations already know Chinese-backed projects are riddled with corruption and tofu-dreg construction, but few dared act. Now that Ecuador has set a precedent, more countries may follow. He added that the Belt and Road Initiative has become a cash machine for corrupt political elites. When new governments come in, they often investigate past dealings with the CCP. Instead of gaining influence, China ends up paying for scandals and corruption, a financial and diplomatic disaster. Tofu-dreg projects have also sparked outrage in Thailand. On March 28th, a magnitude 7.7 earthquake hit Myanmar. In Bangkok, Thailand's 30-story National Audit Office building collapsed, killing at least 95 workers, the only building in the entire country to fall during the quake. It was built by China's Metallurgical Group Corporation, MCC, and TCC, with MCC responsible for the construction. Even though it stood far from the city center, it still collapsed, proof of severe structural flaws. Investigators found the elevator shaft was misplaced toward the rear instead of the center, causing both the shaft and ground columns to collapse simultaneously. The entire building fell within moments. Concrete tests showed the material failed to meet minimum strength standards, and multiple discrepancies were discovered between the construction process and the approved design. Police later confirmed that a professional engineer's signature had been forged. On August 7th, Thai prosecutors charged 23 individuals from Thai firms and Chinese SOEs, including architect Da Heng. Public anger exploded after the collapse, putting pressure on China to raise global construction standards. Another textbook example of Beijing's tofu-dreg construction soon followed. On November 1st, 2024, the roof of the Novi Sad railway station in northern Serbia collapsed, trapping at least 16 people. The station had only been completed that July, after 3 years of reconstruction. The project was built by China Railway Group, China Railway Construction Corporation, and China Communications Construction Company. The collapse triggered Serbia's largest anti-government protest in decades, and on August 1st this year, Serbian authorities arrested several individuals, including the former Minister of Construction. They accused Chinese firms of causing up to $1.56 billion in national losses through tax-related fraud, with illegal profits estimated at $18.8 million. Tofu-dreg construction is even more rampant inside China. One homeowner tore open his brand-new walls, and what he found shocked millions. The blogger said he bought his home at Hongqi Country Garden in June 2018. After a year of renovations and air-out time, he moved in with his children in September 2019. But soon after, he discovered the walls were drenched. Leaks were everywhere. The next day, he touched the walls. They were soaked through. He contacted property management, who then contacted the developer. The developer promised to redo the rooftop waterproofing, but the work stopped halfway, reportedly due to lack of funds. Soon, water leakage spread across the entire Hongqi Country Garden community. Dozens of households faced the same nightmare. Nowadays, shoddy tofu buildings have spread across China, leaving a trail of structural failures, collapsing floors, and hidden dangers that continue to surface year after year. These poorly built projects have caused enormous property losses, deadly accidents, and long-term safety risks, that families are forced to live with. Each incident exposes deeper problems in construction oversight, corruption, and cost-cutting practices that prioritize speed over safety. As more buildings crack, tilt, or collapse, the financial and emotional toll on ordinary citizens grows heavier. Homebuyers who spent their life savings on an apartment now find themselves living in fear of the next disaster. Even government assurances can no longer calm the public as confidence in the housing market rapidly erodes. Across the country, people are left wondering whom they can trust, and whether any home in China is truly safe anymore.